Zara dress used to make me feel awful, and it wasn't just because of the fit, it was because it reminded me of a really difficult time in my life. I nearly donated it until I saw the actress India de Beaufort upcycle the exact same Zara dress into a Co-Ord. And I thought, wait, I could do that. So today I am taking this old Zara dress that sat in my donate pile for years and turning it into a two-piece summer Co-Ord, no pattern needed. This is actually my first time upcycling without a pattern, and I'll show you exactly how I planned, cut, sewed and styled the transformation. In this video, I'll walk you through why the dress ended up in my donate pile, and spoiler, it wasn't just the fit, my step-by-step thought process for planning this no pattern thrift flip, how I turned the bottom half into a skirt, how I transformed the top into a wearable crop, and finally the full outfit reveal, plus what I would do differently next time and the total cost breakdown. Now, this isn't a formal tutorial, it's more of a chatty upcycle vlog for anyone who loves DIY fashion transformations, thrift flips and sustainable sewing, and giving old clothes a second life without needing a commercial pattern. So if you are into high-end looks on a high street budget and want to feel inspired to start sewing or upcycling your wardrobe, then hit that like button, subscribe, and let me know in the comments which pieces from your wardrobe you'd love to revive. I've laid this out on the floor so that I've got space to do the cutting. The plan for this dress is to turn it into two separates. So what I'm going to do is create a midi length skirt. At the minute this is a maxi length skirt. So I need to separate the skirt from the top, and I'm going to do that by cutting along the waistband here. Then with the top, because it's a little bit snug, my plan is to remove the sleeves, and then I'm going to use the fabric from the sleeves to create godets in the side seams. So that will give me a little bit more space, room to breathe with this. Obviously it's quite short, so I think what I'm going to do is like a little crop top. And the first thing to do is to get cutting. This dress is originally from Zara. I think either I bought it during the pandemic or possibly pre-pandemic. And as I said, there's nothing wrong with it. The color is beautiful, the print is beautiful. It's made from 100% viscose. Fabric is lovely, and you can see that the skirt itself is made out of multiple panels, and so it fits really nicely and then it flares out. It just reminds me of such a difficult time in my professional life. I bought this dress for work, and frankly it's a time that I want to not remember or not revisit. And this is the thing about clothing, is every time I put this on now, it just reminds me of that. What I'm hoping is that in doing this refashioning project, I will be able to create two pieces that don't remind me of that time. I guess it's symbolic. Going on that upcycling journey, going on that refashioning journey, the garment itself is going to undergo a transformation in the same way that I have. Let's get cutting. The pockets in this dress are sat quite high up, and I might end up losing them. I'll see how I get on with the skirt. If I've got enough fabric, I might add them again or make some more. So there we go. Quickly going to show you what the pieces look like now. Here is the skirt. The plan is to shorten it. Give you an idea about what that might look like lengthwise. There. Here we have the top portion. Not a huge amount of fabric to play with. I have now measured out how long I want the skirt to be. What I'm just going to do is mark using my heat erasable pen exactly where I want the waistband to sit. This is in alignment with the pocket. I'm going to sew up the pocket and then just cut it off. And then if I can add it back in, then I will. I want the length to be 30 inches. So just measure that from the bottom to wherever that point is on the skirt. Might be a bit tricky to see on camera, but what I've done now is I've drawn the line where I want the waist to sit, and I have some elastic that I'm going to use to help make this waistband. What I'm going to do on this side is just add on the width of the elastic and then another maybe 1.5 centimeters so that I can fold that under and then have a nice clean finish on the inside of the garment. I'm now going to sew up the pockets because they are right in the way, unfortunately. Time for the pockets to go. This honestly feels like this is a crime against clothing. Bye! Time to take the excess off of the waistband, so let's get cutting. I'm going to try to do this fairly neatly if I can, just following the line that I drew earlier. And now I am simply folding over the top here where the waistband is going to be so that I can add the elastic. Something I didn't think about when I was doing this is the fact that it's a button-up skirt. In order to put the elastic in, it needs to be secured here at the front. I'm just going to place them on top of each other. There's top stitch down here, top stitch down here. Hoping that you might not even notice stitching on this. I'm going to try to go over the stitching that's already there. So here's what it looks like now at the top. You can see safely secured, and now I can add in the elastic. Next thing to do is to cut the elastic to my waist. So this is very unscientific. You can always measure yourself. So basically what I'm going to do is pull it so that it's at my natural waist, and then just pull it ever so slightly so it's nice and snug, and then add on about an inch. And that is because when we sew, you need to secure the elastic so that it doesn't pull apart. Okay, so I'm basically going to cut there. Always better to be conservative. You can always take length off. You can't add it back on again. Now I have my elastic cut to length. The next thing to do is just to fold over this waistband to the appropriate width, sew it, but leave a gap for me to be able to thread that through. And I think I'll probably do that at the back. Here I am pinning it down. The way that I signal to myself that I need to stop and leave a gap is I put X's with the pins. I'm literally just seeing the width of the elastic and then folding over and pinning as I go. Okay, so it looks like this seam is going to show slightly, so I'm going to go overlock that. And here's what it looked like having done the overlocking. Now sew the waistband down, and I'm going to thread the elastic through. This is my secret weapon for threading elastic through. Quite often you'll be advised to use a safety pin. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. But what's great about this is you can just pull it through. If you wanted extra security, put it through there as well. But then you just pull it through your garment and happy days. I just find it so much easier to do this. Obviously you want to make sure that you're not going to pull this through. And now it's out. What you do is you overlap the ends of the elastic together. It doesn't have to be the neatest because obviously no one's going to see this. Okay, now what I'm going to do is pull it through, try it on to check the fit. If I'm happy, then I will sew up the waistband and then the skirt will be done. Okay, time for a quick fit check. Here it is. I like the length. I quite like this. Doing a little bit of leg. I prefer the length. I'm happy with this. So all I'm going to do now is sew down the back of the waistband, and I'm going to get started on the top. Let's sew up this waistband. Skirt done, it was time to move on to the top. Now I mentioned before that it was too tight, so I decided to cut the sleeves off and then to use the material from the sleeves to add in some extra room in the side seams. So here I am just taking those sleeves off in preparation for making those godets. I've taken the button off to save because look, they're so cute. Now I'm just going to open it up along the sleeve. Now I'm just going to cut along the seam. I'm just going to give it a press and then cut out my godets. Before I add the godets, I'm just going to cut along the side seams here. This is where I need to add the godets. I don't think I need a huge amount of extra space, maybe centimetre and a half on each side. Here is the side seam. So I'm putting them right sides together, and now I'm going to sew here. And the same on the other side. Now I'm sewing the godets. I have added the godets. Here they are. They're not immediately obvious, I don't think, because of the print, but also because they're under my arm. When I'm wearing it, it's not going to be obvious either. And actually, I feel like the fit is now much better. I can breathe, always a bonus. And I don't feel like it's pulling in the way that it was previously. I also really like the sleeveless version of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and use some bias tape to finish off the sleeve edges. And then I need to think about how I'm going to finish off the hem, whether I go a little bit more cropped, but then Guys, I'm of a certain age. I don't know that I need to be showing off that amount of stomach. Luckily though, I have found the belt, and so I feel like one option is I can add that as a band at the bottom. So important even when you're upcycling to make sure that you finish your seams and that you are pressing between sewing. I think I can live with that. The armholes are looking good. Now it is time to finish off the hem. This is a very cropped top. One of the options I've got is I could fold under the hem and just sew it, but then it literally takes it up to my bra line, and that I feel is too short. The way that I'm going to get around this is I'm going to use the belt to use this as the waistband, and then at the front it's going to end up tying. What I'm going to do is just chop the waistband so that it is pretty even. I'm going to have to lose a button. I'm going to remove some of that angle. I've folded the tie in half and I have identified the midpoint. I'm just going to pin that to the centre back seam here and then pin it all the way along. This is how it is looking. I'm quite pleased with this, and I've just laid it out. So I was thinking I'd have to press the seam down and then maybe press this over, but duh, I could just press it up. And then maybe what I'll do is just do a line of top stitching to keep it in place. Right, I'm going to top stitch this now. All done. Can you believe these were the only scraps from this project left over? Are you ready for the final look? Here we are. Careful not to get my heels stuck in the decking. Ta-da! I have made the dress into a midi skirt with an elasticated waistband, and the top I have made sleeveless. I have used the belt from the original dress to hem and make a tie at the front. This fabric was a bit of a pain to sew with, but it feels so light and breezy to wear. And because I added the godets, the top feels so much more comfortable to wear. I feel like I can breathe. I don't feel like I'm restricted, so I can definitely see myself getting a lot more use out of this. Obviously today I've styled it with these heels. I can definitely see myself wearing this just with a plain pair of white trainers for running errands and spending time with my kids over the summer holidays. I really hope that you enjoyed watching this transformation. I'm honestly so pleased with how it turned out. Turning this dress into a two-piece has made it so much more wearable. I've already styled both pieces separately several times, and they've just slotted into my wardrobe effortlessly. But more than that, this upcycle took something that didn't fit physically or emotionally, and I turned it into something that I actually love wearing. And it feels symbolic in a way, you know, letting go of the past while still making something beautiful out of it. Sewing-wise, I'm really happy with the end result. I don't think that I would change much in terms of the outcome, although I will say that viscose is very slippery. And so if you are new to upcycling, I would definitely recommend starting with a much more stable woven fabric like cotton or linen. For cost, I used elastic and thread that I already had in my stash, so this upcycle didn't really cost me anything other than my time. This project has inspired me to take a fresh look at my donate pile and see what else might be worth saving. If you enjoyed this, make sure that you hit subscribe for more DIY high-end looks on a high street budget, and let me know in the comments what you'd love to upcycle next.